There you go, folks.
But then if they do open it, it's sold.